welcome to another broadcast of The Soul of the Everyman on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past shows are available in podcast form. You can find them at ArtistFirst.com. Want to send a question or comment? Hit us up at DJ@ArtistFirst.com. And now here they are. We call them the wise ones, Michael and Margaret Lyons.
You guys can hear me shaking my head, right? Welcome to the Soul of the Everyman, where the wise ones are not here. I'm Michael Lyons.
And I'm Margaret.
And tonight's show, we welcome you to the center of the universe.
Yes.
Actually, it's over there. It's in Margaret's chair. I feel this great attraction, though, to the center of the universe.
You're calling me a giant.
I want to back away slowly. Well, sorry, I interrupted your introduction. Please proceed.
Okay. Well, yes. Tonight's topic is the I-centered universe.
Right. And we have a boss graphic, which may or may not be on the website because the universe, the strange attractor of the universe is getting it there. But if you all think, if you all wish, if you all do that Tinkerbell thing where we really, really wish really, really hard, it will appear. And tonight, and the graphic really just says that very, very simply that you're not the center of the universe, you know. And actually, it's wrong in a number of important ways. But it's also right in a number of important ways. And the universe is a concept, I think if we just step back for a second, the universe is a concept that people throw around a lot. We really, and I said the universe is a concept, but we really don't have the wherewithal as human beings to conceptualize the universe.
Yes.
It's something that people just toss around, you know.
The large concept that people just assume they know what it is. Like love. The word love. It means so many things in the English language.
Well, it's true. And I don't want to conflate the universe with love, although people can love the universe. But as undefinable things, they're probably akin, and as things that people think they have a handle on, but really don't. If they really admit it to themselves, they're also akin. So, this concept of the universe, this infinity, which is another thing that I think very few people can wrap their heads around. Maybe nobody, Stephen Hawking, but he's dead, can really wrap their heads around what is infinite. And as you push yourself out sort of towards wrapping your head around that or wrapping your heart around that, you kind of bump into the concept of spirit and God and the unknowable, the unknown.
The undefinable.
And then you shrink back. We kind of shrink back because we want the universe to be something we can talk about and play with and conceptualize about because it makes us feel safer. And in fact, an inconceivable universe kind of frightens us a little bit. But then if you turn it around, there are some comforting things, and we'll talk a little bit about the comforting things about the universe. But one of the most comforting things about the universe is that, you know, to belie the point of the beginning of our show, you really are the center of the universe in a very real way, because of two things. One is the universe being undefinable has no real center, or every point of it is a center. So you can think of yourself as always being at the center of the universe. And then each one of us as a unique, precious, infinitesimal spark of existence is only able to perceive the universe, which we'll define as everything outside of you, through that one singular point of view. So in a very real way, all of us live in our own little universe. And we know people who we are absolutely sure are living in their own little universe. But in fact, we all do, to the extent that we make allowances for others and that we kind of modify what we do in response to what we see. We consider ourselves to be more in touch with the universe, which is one of those wonderful terms that people throw around. I'm in touch with the universe. And when we say the pejorative, which we just laughed about where they live in their own little universe, it's really people who despite all possible external stimuli, kind of ignore everything and do exactly what they want to do all the time and have no consideration. But in fact, we can't escape from the fact that we do all live in our own little private universe, and we interact with the rest of it through this rather crude set of senses and this fleshy kind of construct. And this is another one of those mind-blowing concepts that you have to say while you're on Ludes or something. Everything else, dude, comes through that. Like, we don't know anything about the universe except, like, through our fingers and stuff.
Yes.
Yes, she's got to reel me in now. So anyway,
Yes.
I've set you up.
Okay.
Your turn.
All right. Yeah. Are we out of your universe yet, or?
Yes.
Every person that I know of, everyone, has to relate according to how they are perceiving things. They have no other way, which is probably, again, I think we had said this before, one of the basis of the American Indian way of describing this place, this world, where we all come here to dream the common dream. In other words, with the hopes of being able to get out of our I-centered universes and share with other people's worlds. But that, if you look at it, just in general, how else do you perceive anything except through you? And as a small child, that's exactly what they do. You know, everything is what you see, and you watch things because you can't predict how things are going to go. You just keep observing things because you understand you don't understand what's going on. I'd like to know when that changes, by the way.
Go ahead, sorry.
But that fullness, that there's a fullness of awareness when you're in that observer mode, and you take in with all your senses what's happening around you, with no preconceived notions. Maybe that's the best idea, the best way to describe it. And you take it in, you record what's going on, you sort of mull it over, trying to understand what it was that just came in, this information, and how you yourself, your physical body, your own emotions and thoughts were reacting to that moment. So I was hungry, so I cried. Wait a minute, some help came. It was food.
Let's do that again.
Or I feel uncomfortable, and I cried.
And I cried. You know, I like that. If I could back up a second, you know, the I-ness. You know, we again started with the idea of the I-centered universe, and saying that you're not the center of the universe, but in fact, perforce you are to some extent. And I think part of the reason that people spend most, if not all, of their lives in search for a relationship is because there is a sort of a singular loneliness to all of our positions. Every man, the old "no man is an island." Well, it's true. I would rephrase it, not to take away from the original wonderful phrasing, but no man wants to be an island, or all islands feel their isolation. We feel the isolation of the uniqueness of being you and having nothing but these senses from which to relate to the universe. And yes, there is that relationship of I cried and something came in, but I spend all of my life searching for connection through these very sort of difficult circumstances of the senses and the way I can relate to others. What is all language except an ability, some struggle to make your internal thoughts, the ones that you can't, it's very difficult to express yourself, and we've invented a tremendous amount of words and ways to try and express ourselves, and they're all sort of dull copies of what we were actually thinking, to try and get what? Someone else, another thing, another part of the universe that isn't me, to understand and be in relationship with me. And that comes from a desperate, well, not say desperate, let's say a singular loneliness, which is every one of us. We are alone in our own universe, but really searching, really trying continually and hopefully fruitfully to somehow relate to another in the universe.
Well, the need for a relationship is primal. But I think the aspect of trying to think of something, or you have a thought and you're trying to communicate it, and that linking to the aloneness, because you couldn't present the purity of the concept, is a very mental way of doing relationships, because that's only one aspect of it, and that's where if you only concentrate on just the mental part trying to communicate, you're not going to make a heart-to-heart connection, and which is it core to a relationship. A deep relationship is a heart-to-heart connection, although you can have relationships with other people just solely on different levels. I interact with this person on this level. We only talk about, I don't know, food over here, or we only talk about
whatever.
Work.
Yeah, work. Well, I agree with you. I'm not saying that, let me say that it is an aspect of our aloneness that is language. It's an aspect of our aloneness that requires deep personal relationship as well as interactive relationship at a more sort of distance level or a mental level. But the core of trying to extend oneself outside of oneself is because you're never sure. None of us is ever sure what we have within us or what we perceive is what others perceive. What part of of relationship is reflection. You want to see yourself as others see you, or you want to see yourself in others, and that's again sort of a reversal of this feeling of the I-centered universe. You're looking for yourself again, or you're looking for how do others see me? How to turn the mirror around, if you will.
But maybe that's at the core of our experience here with the universe, or experiencing the universe. You're always looking for a reflection of yourself, but that's because you feel that yourself is at the core.
Yeah.
You're looking for a way to identify your experiences by seeing pieces in others. And that is a how do I say this? That is an internal reflective, that's a true reflective state, as opposed to being a narcissistic thought or a narcissistic being state. Narcissistic being state, it's all about me, and I'm going to justify everything I'm doing by just talking about me because it's just about me. It's not about anybody else. It's about me. Not participating in understanding that the reflection is what the relationship is. There are pieces of another person that are reflecting back qualities or aspects of who you are. But it's understanding that that person also is their own being, and they have their own universe that they're trying to muddle through.
Well, you hit upon the core of it there, and I think that's one of the first steps of revelation, right? You are brought into this existence, and you are a singular person, experiencing everything as though you are the only thing in the universe, and that at some point you realize that there is a difference between the universe and others who are like you, enough like you, that you say they must also have their own universe, if you will. Their point of view is as valid as your point of view. And you start to realize that there is three things. There's you, the other, and then the outside looking at both of you, if you will, because you extend yourself into sort of the observer of both you as well as the other, and saying, yeah, it's not just me, that's the narcissistic you just said, and it's not just a universe of things, even the people in it are things. No, there's a point of view which says we are all part of this one thing, and that we have individual viewpoints within this one thing. And that's a step forward in when you see a child evolving. You step forward, and then there's a point at which you then can start to even push yourself further and say, my one thing here is ephemeral. It came into being and it will cease to be, and then everything else, including all the people around me, people not yet born and people who were born before and are gone now, are still part of the thing. And you get yourself even further abstracted from the I-centered universe. And now we're kind of moving away from, yes, you are the center of your universe, but you're not trapped there. And I say trapped there, and I smile. You guys can't see it, but what I'm trying to, people believe that they're the center of the universe. They're actually kind of trapping themselves there, because enlightenment, if you want to talk about it in the Buddhist terms, is to make yourself be one, they call it, one with the universe. But really what it's saying is you're kind of negating the concept of I at the center of the universe, and saying that I, in a much broader sense, am the universe. I am all things. I am one with all things. And therefore, I can even look at my own birth, existence, and death as just another thing, I've kind of transitioned from the I-centered universe to the non-centered universe, to just the universe. And that's a wonderful insight and a wonderful revelation, and it kind of almost agrees with some of the most cutting-edge science we've got too, which is very interesting, where you have a philosophy which is thousands of years old, and it's kind of bumping into something which is only maybe tens of years old, called quantum physics, quantum mechanics. But Anyway, getting off the subject a little bit, these transition points from it's all about me and everyone else in the universe is just here to serve me, and I cry and shove something in my mouth, all the way to not only is it not about me, but it's not about anything. It is just is. And I am is. I am who am. You become one with God if you finally get yourself out of the trap of the I-centered universe. It is sort of interestingly enough, like a little hole that you hide in.
A singularity.
A singularity, exactly.
Well, it's interesting because there's always those that feel they're very much trapped into that mental way of doing everything, not to say it's bad, but to deny that there's other aspects of themselves, and they only center on the things that they can think about, will basically create voids in your being state, because all you're doing is humming in between your ears and not taking into account all the other aspects of who you are. I was listening to something that was talking about a concept called biocentrism, which has to do with you being the center of the universe, because nothing exists unless you perceive it. And it's again a very old concept. It's in Zen. It's what is the sound of one hand clapping, or
wait, that was just it.
Or oh my goodness. Or what was that? If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? And that was exercises. Basically, they're called koans, K-O-A-N-S, to break the mental thought pattern that a person may have, to make them realize that just that mental thought pattern is not enough for you to experience your universe. So it's something that man has done probably since the beginning of existence, since we came here. The habit form of, okay, this is my universe, and isn't the fight always, well, isn't my universe better than your universe? So my universe has got to override everything else that's around me.
I reject your reality and substitute my own. No, it's exactly what people do. People, this is a wonderful point. We have to spend a couple minutes on it. People objectify, well, rather, they identify their universe and then immediately say, my way is better. They say, well, because I like it and because it's my universe, and that the idea of a dominant universe, or a universe which is right, and then there's everybody else. We've talked about it many times about these kind of constructs. Them versus us. That's just another way. If you bring people in within your control, this is the I controlling. When the I universe wants to dominate, it wants to say my universe, and everything in it, every other person in it is subservient and serving me. Because if you go back to that biocentric kind of view, you're the only important thing, so therefore you have to serve me. Well, like the universe is out there to serve me. I think biocentrism, technically they talk about both universes, both this I-centered universe and this kind of holistic universe, where you are just a piece of it. And there are, I believe, what their main point is that the holistic, you're just a piece of the universe, is more sane than the other one. But regardless, they talk about both concepts in this biocentrism, certainly.
Well, it's coming here and sharing the dream means that you are participating in a greater, okay? But it's not what you think. It's not an all or nothing deal where you're either on, this is mine and we're going to do it this way, where one dominates and one doesn't, or we're all here just part of things. So that means we're all equal and everything is just as important as everything else, kind of thing. And you sit there and go, no, you don't get it. That's only an aspect. What both ideas are modeling is the nature of your existence. You are both.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That is the paradox of man. You are both. You can't just center on one concept or the other and basically say this is the way it is.
Exactly.
You're like, you don't have enough wherewithal internally to understand even the idea of universe. What makes you think that you can define the way it's got to get run?
Right. And again, I want to stop you because you say exactly right. The whole idea of one is right versus one is wrong is already, quote unquote, wrong, because you're again just dividing in a different way. It's
limiting.
Yes.
Is the point I'm trying to make. If you are looking at an unlimited universe, then making it into these concepts limits it immediately.
Right.
And to understand that it's the mind. Your mind wants to limit it. Why?
Why? Exactly.
Because it's so scary if it's not limited.
Right.
I mean, that's the foundation of it. When you understand, many of these thoughts are founded in this fear of the unknown. And being truthful to yourself, to understand that your thought patterns are motivated by this, whether you embrace it or not, whether you realize it or not. It's part of what it means to be human down here, and to recognize it and not keep shoving it under so that it can rear its head someplace else.
Right. I mean, there's the fallacy of dualism. And the fallacy of dualism is that it's either one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And the most wonderful concept in quantum mechanics is that it's both and neither.
Correct.
That it's 1 and 0, that it's a dead cat and a living cat at the same time. And the unique third component of quantum physics is it's both dead and alive, it's both 1 and 0, until it's observed. And the interesting thing about it is that you are not the 1, you are not the 0, and you are not the observer. People want to put themselves in one of those three places. In fact, you're none of those three places. You're the universe, which contains all three.
Mm-hmm.
The universe contains the 1, the 0, and the observer at the same time. And with that crazy thought, we're going to go back to the studio and let you guys puzzle it out. We'll be back. There'll be a test.
There is a Reaper is the story of 5-year-old Christopher Aaron and his life-changing struggle with leukemia. Winner of both the Indie Bragg Medallion as well as the reader's favorite silver medal for memoir, There is a Reaper has more than 100 Amazon book reviews and a 5-star rating. It has been described as life-changing, spiritual, a must-read. Just released on Audible and iTunes, this memoir is also available in paperback and on Amazon Kindle for only 99 cents. Get your copy of this life-changing memoir today.
The Timeless Esoterica radio program with Dr. Bruce is broadcast on the fourth Monday of every month at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern on ArtistFirst.com. We explore topics including the paranormal, alien life, mysteries, conspiracies, hidden history, oddities, and much more. Each show will feature a special guest with exciting and thought-provoking discussion. Always keep an open mind, an open heart, live forever, and remember Dr. Bruce believes in you.
Rick Riordan fans, love mythology with plenty of action and humor? Destroyer's Blood is for you. The new fantasy novel by award-winning author Michael Lynes is book 1 of the adventures of Devkalion, the Blood series. Follow Dev and his magic sword Betrayer as they are suddenly attacked and forced to return to Olympus to fight in a war they want no part in. The world of men and gods is about to be destroyed by Zeus's ancient foe, and only Dev and Trey can stop him. The conflict never stops, and the amazing twist will have you on the edge of your seat. Act now while the ebook is on sale for only 99 cents. Destroyer's Blood is available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, Kobo, and fine e-tailers everywhere. And while you're there, get the free prequel, It's in the Blood, available for a limited time.
Hi, this is Minette Lauren, author of Race for the Sun. Do you believe in guardian angels? Check out book 1 of my Soul Watcher series. It can be found on Amazon.com or anywhere fine books are sold. Go to www.minettelauren.com, and you are listening to the Artist First Radio Network.
The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed is the latest book from Michael Lynes, the award-winning author of There is a Reaper. Featuring 13 original stories, this wide-ranging collection has everything. Forbidden love, gods versus demigods, weird invading aliens, sexy seductive artificial intelligence, and unusual passion between the living and the dead. All set amidst fantastic worlds of pain and loss and boundless joy. From the sublime to the macabre to the bittersweet, The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed will leave you breathless with laughter, brimming with tears, trembling with suspense. Available now on Amazon.com, Google Play, iTunes, Kobo, and fine e-tailers everywhere.
You are listening to The Soul of the Everyman on the Artist First Radio Network. Back to your hosts, Michael and Margaret Lynes.
Thank you very much, Steven. Did you miss us?
I did.
The universe was waiting. And welcome back to The Soul of the Everyman, the second half of the bottom half of the something else to the top hour of the hour. And we are talking tonight about the center of the universe and the fact that you are not in it. Or you are. We're trying to figure it out. And where we left off at the bottom of the last half hour is that the concept of the universe, of duality, of I and them, of right and wrong, of this is part of the universe and this isn't, is a trap of some sorts. And some of the philosophies, some of the best philosophies that people have come up with over the last few thousands of years have realized that true enlightenment is realizing that there isn't a them and a you, there isn't an I and an everything else. It's you become one with all. And the thing that's interesting is today's perhaps cutting edge theory. Maybe not so cutting edge anymore because it's probably been around now for about 20, 25 years. But the idea of a quantum universe, which is a sort of a scientific concept, encompasses the fact that duality is sort of a myth. The idea of a one or a zero, of a thing or a not thing, is not really true. We experience the universe at the level that we're living at as sort of yes or no, black or white. But the true universe is kind of like, yeah, maybe. Might be yes, might be no. We're not quite sure. And it's true that at the real quantum level of the universe, it's really kind of undecided, and truly undecided. And it needs not one, not zero, but it needs three things. And the three things that make up the universe are the thing, the not thing, and the thing or the that which observes those things. And the true universe is all of that at the same time. When the universe figures out what the universe is going to do next, which is a big question that's answered all the time without us really knowing it, we call it time, interestingly enough, that we see things moving forward from one moment, one scintilla, one bit of existence to the next. That thing that we call time is the universe making up its mind, kind of like making up as it goes along. Yeah, that's next. Okay, that's next. Okay, that's next. And it seems to happen kind of without anybody doing anything, but that is also a fallacy, because that which observes that which is not yet decided, and these are two things, that which observes that which is not yet decided, and I'm kind of putting them out there. They're not that I understand them, no one does, but that which observes that which is not yet decided, this infinite arrow of time kind of wiggles its way through. And we've done some very interesting experiments, and you can look them up if you want to hurt yourself with the brain wrapping, where we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the universe is all hooky-dook, and it's made up as it goes along, and sometimes it just says, well, I'm not decided yet, and we'll figure it out later, even though it's already, quote-unquote, past the time that it, quote-unquote, happened. Because things that happen and things that happen, quote-unquote, in time, those two wonderful little concepts that we kind of base our whole existence on really don't exist. And it's scary crazy. And what you said before in the bottom of the last half hour was that the mind wants certainty. We want it to be yes or no. And we're unhappy and kind of scared when it's both yes and no.
Right.
And that's why we would love to be the center of the universe. And biocentrism wants to say, well, you can direct the, people say, well, you can just manifest the universe. Well, maybe you can, but maybe you can't. And it's really, that's the truth, is maybe. We don't really know. No one really knows. The universe doesn't really know what's going to happen next.
Well, what if, now I'm going to just ask a question. What if man's existence is actually an experiment or the random factor in the decisions? You were saying how you have to have the observer and you have the 1 and the 0. Well, who decides? What if we are the ones that are placed in a situation, different points in time and space, to make that decision?
And that's a completely valid point of view. The way some people say it, and I believe you just said it before last half hour, is what is the sound of a tree if no one's around to hear it? Is there a sound? Or what's the sound of one hand clapping? These koans, that one you just said is another koan in essence. It really says, is the universe a thing that we exist in, which is kind of the classic way of thinking about it. We're like here, and that's a thing, and we're inside of it like a giant can, and we're just rattling around inside, and we're doing things. Or, and this is not, it sounds crazy in science fiction, but it's actually, there's a lot of serious thought about this, that the universe is really all unrealized potential. Mm-hmm. And that the unrealized potential of the universe has a certain energy, and that energy wants to kind of unwind, or we can think of it as unwinding. It has a certain, we're getting a little bit deep into the potential, into the concepts here, but let's just say that the universe can be thought of as a spring that has to unwind. And the unwinding of the spring can happen, but it needs sort of a mechanism to help it unwind. That mechanism might be what we call people and existence, the existence of observers. Well, that's not, it's crazy sounding, but it's not all that crazy. We have teased apart kind of some of the basic fabric of the universe and found out that it's really kind of crazy spooky down there. Once you get down to the crazy spooky layer of the universe, things no longer sort of seem to be related by cause and effect. There's a lot of interesting science that's gone on down there. But the other crazy spooky thing about the universe is there really isn't a good reason for it to keep on going.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
The universe really doesn't have to go. Or rather, there's no reason. Reason's a poor choice of word. The thingness of the universe, and by that I mean just every blessed thing. The thingness of the universe is not a property that it needs or wants or has to have. In other words, the existence of the next femtosecond or smaller of the universe is like, yeah, okay, maybe not. But the observer, the external piece of whatever it is that observes the universe, literally coalesces or brings together or concretizes or makes the next instant be something. It gets deeper and deeper. This sounds crazy. It gets even crazier. And if you go into the math, you just go insane. All the mathematicians are just crazy. But in fact, there are true parts at the basic level of existence that really don't make any sense whatsoever, because what we think of as sense is the one or the zero or the yes or the no. It has no sense. It has no it has no reality whatsoever. We can truly say with certainty that the universe is completely uncertain. It is completely uncertain. So if we abstract this back a little bit, the key part about all of us is that we feel this uncertainty. We know it's true that the universe is an uncertain place. We also kind of know at a basic level that our intentions and our actions and our observations and our thoughts have influence on what actually happens next. It isn't that you can manifest a cold one when you want it. It'd be great. But the power of intention, the power of observation is unrefutable. It's not only unrefutable, it's scientific fact that the observer has an effect on the observed, and that both are necessary for the observed to become something. Because before you observe it, it's either this or that. Maybe yes, maybe yeah, whatever, don't know. And then someone comes along, something comes along, something comes along and observes it, and the universe ticks forward another incredibly small tick. And then you observe it again. Tick, tick, tick. So the infinite arrow of time, the what's that drum that the Hindus use to represent time? The tick, 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 tick of time is the observer, the observed, and the incredible potential of maybe happening all the time. So the universe, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a manifestation comes about in this particular manner. In fact, the one thing that we as humans do down here is describe and participate in process. Process is something that is definable but may not be predictable. And that's what we observe down here. Process is the one thing that scoots that ticking along. The change will always happen. And is the process towards a growth or not? Is it relative or not? The universe doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
But you, in the process, do care.
Yes. And I think that's where we go back to the I am the center of the universe. When you see, you can't live in the quantum universe. No one can. Nothing can. No, there is no living in the quantum universe. The quantum universe is a crazy hooky-dooky place that no one can live in. But we live in this universe, which is actually the same universe, which is the universe of certainty and ones and zeros and yeses and nos. And yet, the connection of the universe of certainty, of yeses and nos, to the universe of, I don't know, is irrefutable. It is quite possible that the maybiness of I don't know what's going to happen next needs the certainty of 1 and 0 and 1 and 0. So again, the trap of duality, 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 and 0, is because it's only a piece of the picture. The 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 and 0 has to happen, but you need to have the maybe. The maybe is the essential component which allows you to become one or the other. There is the moment of indecision, called the moment of creation, which is happening all the time.
Right. But this is what I mean by process.
Yes.
As human beings, you participate in the process that's happening in front of you.
Right.
And you do have the free will to choose whether or not to participate. It doesn't mean that you're going to negate what's happening around you. But whether or not you participate, your response to it is what is in your control. Yeah. And therefore, you become the decider of the moment.
Well, or as the common dream, we all are deciding on the moment, and the moment needs the deciders. The sound of one hand clapping requires, at some point, a thing to observe the sound, or to sense the sound.
To hear.
To hear. It isn't that the tree doesn't make a sound, or that it doesn't even fall. It's that it did, and it didn't, and then you came around, and you observed that it did or it didn't, and then it did or it didn't. So, the way of looking at this is, yes, a tree could have fallen in the forest, or it could not have. And then it could have made a sound, or it could not have. But then you come along and say, the tree fell, and I heard it. Or the tree didn't fall, and I didn't hear it. And then it's done. But we're on to the next instant of creation. The tree could fall, or it might not. Because every moment of every instant, it's an instant of creation of the next moment. We think of the universe as being created 13.5 billion years ago, and then it's kind of ticked along like a giant clock. That's in some ways right, but in a very basic way, it's wrong. We now know that the universe is making its mind up all the time, right now. So it really, right now, is the moment of creation of the universe that's happening in that moment. The universe is constantly creating itself as we sit here, being created by observing our creation. And that's getting so deep now that everyone have a drink. Because otherwise we're never going to get through this. All right, take one. Take one for the team. Let us know when you're done. But that's not untrue. at a quantum level, the instant of creation is always happening because there is no time for the instant of creation. It's always happening. The universe isn't actually, there is no time in the universe. We're actually at the moment of creation right now. It just looks a little bit more organized now, but it's still the moment of creation.
Well, I think that the question was, let's refer back to what we started out with.
You're not the center of the universe, you know. We're not. There is no center, or the whole thing is center, and there is no now, or it's all now.
Okay, this is all. What I'm trying to say is that time is the way in which we, as individuals, coming together with our universes, is the way in which we can interrelate with one another, because we are down here for relationship, as opposed to mental construct that we are functioning in. Most people don't even want to look at the mental construct that you just described.
Oh, no. Here's the best way of putting it. All the things that I just said are no truer than the dream, the common dream. They're actually as true. This is the idea in another language of dream, the common dream, or of Vishnu opening his eyes, or whatever. It's all the same thing.
I understand that. But it's understanding that for an individual, you choose the manner in which your world or your, how do I say this, your universe that you bring. Because we all bring a universe to. We all bring a universe to this place. We are all worlds that bring our being state to this universe. Let's look at it that way. Which is an interesting thought, actually. But if since we are dreaming a common dream, and we all create our own worlds, or we all create our own universes, according to the way we've been looking at things, we come to this world in order to dream together. Yeah. And that, as we all know, is a very difficult skill set.
Well, that's true.
Seriously, because everyone's bringing their own madness with them.
Yes, that's true. Maybe we'll just walk back to this exactly. So we are all the center of the universe, our own universe. But if we want to have relationship, if we want to dream the common dream, you have to allow the universes of others to touch your universe. You have to embrace the concept of otherness in the common dream, and still hold your uniqueness. This is, again, sort of a duality. You have to say that, yes, I am the universe and I am me. And those two things are the same, are both true at the same time. You don't lose your identity by joining with all the others, with all the universe, and becoming one with it all.
Well, see, that is a concept that most people kind of gloss over, because they believe that once you join with the universe, you basically become, non-existent almost. You're one with the universe means that you have no identity in the universe, which is not true. Your soul is made manifest here, and it is unique, and it has its own unique levels of interaction and learning that it's done through its lifetime. And this contributes back to a greater. But you don't poof, dissipate into like, I'm going to sit here and do for millennium or for forever.
Right.
That is the concept that most people have. It's like when people think of heaven, and what it is you're sitting on a cloud and playing a harp. It's like, no. Or God is this guy sitting on a throne with a long white beard. It's like, no. These are all human constructs. Can you embrace something far larger? What is the experience that you have had down here in relationship with others? Because a lot of you do have the ability to say, no, I don't want to do that, but then why'd you come down here?
Right. Right. And again, the universe that is you is as precious as the universe that is not you, and they are both the same thing. Those three things are true. There's the universe of precious I, which is unique, and it is your spark, ephemeral as it may be. There is spirit, which you bring your experiences back to. You come here to dream the common dream, you bring them back to spirit. And then there is the universe of all the others, everyone else's uniqueness, which you are interacting with. And all of them are as valid and as precious and as right as your universe. So the interaction is most properly a trading, a balanced interaction of energy, one universe to another, so that neither universe is damaged and both are enhanced through experience and through relationship. So, yes, you're the center of the universe, and you're absolutely not the center of the universe at the same time.
And to be able to expand this. In other words, how do you function when you're integrating other worlds, other people's worlds with yours? Are you choosing domination? Or are you being subservient to the construct of somebody else? Is it purely a mental thing? Is it purely an emotional thing? It's like, no. You're here to integrate who you are, expanding who you are in all aspects, and then participating in that heartfelt bond of life. Because we're all down here experiencing life as it unfolds. And the only way to participate with that is through a balanced heart state. And that when you are in that balanced heart state, that's when everything falls into place.
You know what I think just fell into place?
Mm-hmm.
The universe is telling me that the show is over.
Oh, dear.
So I'm Michael Lyons.
And I'm Margaret. And thank you for listening.